The Sioux are a proud and resilient Native American people, known for their rich cultural heritage and deep connection to the land. Their history is one of strength, perseverance, and unity. They are known by several names, each representing different groups within the larger Sioux nation. These include Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota, each with its own unique traditions and dialects. These names all mean united people or allies, reflecting their strong sense of community and mutual support. The name Sioux itself comes from a French word, which was derived from an Algonquian term. It is derived from an Algonquian term that means little enemies, a name given during times of conflict. Despite this, the Sioux people have always preferred to be called by their own names, which they believe better reflect their identity and history. They believe these names reflect their true identity and history, honoring their ancestors and cultural heritage. The Sioux Nation is actually an alliance of 3 distinct groups, each with its own unique cultural practices and dialects. These groups are the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota, who have historically lived in different regions but share a common heritage. Each group has its own dialect and cultural practices, yet they are united by a shared language, family, history, and spiritual beliefs. This unity is a cornerstone of their identity, allowing them to maintain their traditions and way of life despite external pressures. They are united by a shared language, family, history, and spiritual beliefs, which have been passed down through generations. They see themselves as one people, bound together by their common ancestry and cultural heritage. This unity has been essential to their survival, helping them to resist and overcome numerous challenges throughout their history. They have faced many challenges throughout their history, from conflicts with other tribes and European settlers, to modern-day struggles for rights and recognition. Yet, through it all, the Sioux have remained steadfast, preserving their culture and way of life for future generations. The Sioux were nomadic people. They lived on the Great Plains of North America. This vast region stretches from present-day Canada to Texas. It includes parts of states like Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Nebraska. This land was, and still is, sacred to the Sioux. They believe it is a place of spiritual power and abundance. The Sioux followed the buffalo herds. These herds were essential to their way of life. They provided food, clothing, shelter, and tools. The Sioux lived in teepees. These were cone-shaped dwellings made from buffalo hides. Teepees were easy to assemble and dismantle. This made them ideal for a nomadic lifestyle. The buffalo was more than just a source of sustenance for the Sioux. It was a cornerstone of their existence, deeply woven into the fabric of their daily lives and spiritual beliefs. It was central to their way of life, providing not only food but also materials for clothing, tools, and shelter. They used every part of the animal, nothing was wasted. The bones were crafted into tools and weapons, the sinews into bowstrings, and the horns into utensils. The hides provided clothing, bedding, and shelter. Teepees made from buffalo hides were sturdy and could withstand harsh weather conditions. The meat was their primary food source, rich in nutrients and essential for their survival. They ate it fresh, dried, or made into pemmican. Drying the meat allowed it to be preserved for long journeys and harsh winters. Pemmican is a mixture of dried meat, berries, and fat. This high-energy food was crucial for their nomadic lifestyle. It could be stored for long periods, ensuring that the tribe had a reliable food source during times of scarcity. This was essential for times when food was scarce, particularly during the long, harsh winters when hunting was difficult. The Sioux developed a deep respect for the buffalo. They saw the animal as a sacred being, integral to their survival and well-being. They believed the animal was a sacred gift from Wakantanka, the Great Spirit, who provided for their needs. Wakantanka is the Great Spirit. The Sioux honored this gift through various rituals and ceremonies. They performed rituals and ceremonies to honor the buffalo, expressing their gratitude and reverence. They gave thanks for its sacrifice, acknowledging the buffalo's role in their survival. They also asked for continued abundance, praying for the buffalo herds to remain plentiful. The relationship between the Sioux and the buffalo was one of interdependence and reverence. This sacred bond ensured the survival and prosperity of the Sioux people for generations. The Sioux people had a rich spiritual life. They believed in Wakantanka. Wakantanka is the Great Spirit. They believed this spirit was the source of all creation. They also believed in many other spirits. These spirits inhabited the natural world. They included the spirits of animals, plants, and the elements. One of the most important Sioux ceremonies was the sun dance. This was a sacred ritual that took place during the summer solstice. It was a time of renewal and spiritual connection. The sun dance involved fasting, prayer, and dancing. It was a physically and emotionally demanding ceremony. It was a way for the Sioux people to show their devotion to Wakantanka. It was also a way to seek guidance and healing. Section 5. Keeping the words alive, the Sioux language. The Sioux language is a complex and beautiful language. It is part of the Siouan language family. This family includes languages spoken by other tribes in the Great Plains and Midwest regions. The Sioux language is traditionally an oral language. It was not originally written down. Knowledge and stories were passed down through generations through storytelling and songs. Today, there are efforts to preserve and revitalize the Sioux language. Language immersion programs are being implemented in schools. These programs teach children the language and culture of their ancestors. There are also online resources and language learning apps available. The Sioux people recognize the importance of their language. They see it as essential to their cultural identity and survival. Section 6. Warriors of the Plains, the Battles of the Sioux. The Sioux, a proud and resilient people, have a storied history filled with both triumph and tragedy. Their battles are a testament to their unwavering spirit and determination to protect their land and way of life. The Sioux were known for their bravery and skill in battle. Their warriors, often adorned in traditional attire, were not only fierce but also deeply connected to their cultural heritage and the land they fought to protect. They were fierce warriors who defended their land and way of life against encroachment by settlers and the U.S. Army. The encroachment was relentless, but the Sioux's resolve was unyielding. They fought not just for territory, but for their very existence and the preservation of their culture. The Sioux fought many battles during the 19th century. Each battle was a significant event, etched into the annals of history, showcasing their strategic prowess and indomitable spirit. Two of the most famous battles are the Battle of Little Bighorn and the Battle of Wounded Knee. These battles are not just historical events, but symbols of the broader struggle between the Sioux and the forces that sought to subdue them. The Battle of Little Bighorn, also known as Custer's Last Stand, took place in 1876. This battle is one of the most well-known conflicts between Native Americans and the U.S. Army, often studied for its tactical elements and dramatic outcome. It was a decisive victory for the Sioux and their allies. The triumph at Little Bighorn was a rare and significant win, boosting the morale of the Sioux and cementing their legacy as formidable warriors. They were led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. These leaders are legendary figures, revered not only for their leadership in battle, but also for their vision and dedication to their people's future. They defeated General George Armstrong Custer and his troops. This defeat was a significant blow to the U.S. Army and a moment of immense pride for the Sioux. The battle became a symbol of Sioux resistance. It represented the strength and resilience of the Sioux people, a beacon of hope and defiance against overwhelming odds. The Battle of Wounded Knee, on the other hand, was a tragedy. Unlike the victory at Little Bighorn, Wounded Knee is remembered for its sorrow and the immense loss suffered by the Sioux. It took place in 1890. The harsh winter landscape of Wounded Knee adds to the somber memory of this tragic event. The U.S. Army massacred over 150 Sioux men, women, and children. This massacre is a stark reminder of the brutal measures taken to suppress the Sioux and their way of life. This event marked the end of the armed conflict between the Sioux and the U.S. government. The treaties and documents that followed attempted to bring peace, but the scars of these battles remained. It is a dark chapter in American history. The legacy of these battles, both the victories and the tragedies, continues to resonate, reminding us of the resilience of the Sioux and the profound impact of their struggle. Section 7. Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. Leaders of Resistance. Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse are two of the most famous and revered Sioux leaders. They played pivotal roles in the resistance against U.S. expansion. Sitting Bull was a Hunkpapa Lakota holy man, political leader and visionary. He was known for his wisdom, courage, and unwavering commitment to his people. Crazy Horse was an Oglala Lakota warrior and leader. He was known for his bravery, military skill, and spiritual connection. He was a fierce defender of his people. He is remembered for his role in the Battle of Little Bighorn. Both Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse are iconic figures in Sioux history. They represent the strength, resilience, and determination of the Sioux people. Section 8. Expressions of a people: art, dance, and song of the Sioux. Sioux art, dance, and music are not just forms of entertainment. They are expressions of their culture, history, and spirituality. Sioux art often depicts scenes from daily life, hunting, warfare, and their spiritual beliefs. Traditional art forms include beadwork, quillwork, painting on hides, and carving. Sioux dances are often ceremonial. They are performed for specific purposes such as honoring warriors, celebrating harvests, or seeking spiritual guidance. The dances are accompanied by drumming, singing, and traditional instruments. The songs often tell stories, convey emotions, or connect the Sioux people to their ancestors and the spirit world. Section 9. A legacy endures: the Sioux. Today, the Sioux Nation continues to face challenges. They are working to overcome the legacy of historical trauma, poverty, and discrimination. However, they remain resilient. They are determined to preserve their culture and create a better future for their children. The Sioux are actively involved in efforts to revive their language, protect their sacred sites, and promote economic development on their reservations. They are also working to raise awareness about the issues facing Native Americans today. The Sioux people are survivors. They are determined to keep their culture alive for generations to come.